Welcome to Jacket Talk on LEB TV.
How much has your bank paid you? We've paid our Kasasa account holders more than $7 million since 2017. Open an account in minutes to get in on the earnings today.
My name is Jaysha Connor, owner and nurse practitioner here at Ginger Wellness. I believe that sometimes healthcare does too much, and I believe that's where wellness centers can really bridge that gap and really give people some confidence in natural ways, healthier ways, to really improve quality of life and to get healthy.
We want to feel better and live better lives. It's not about quantity, it's a lot about quality of your life.
Ginger Wellness is where I went to get my quality of life back.
Welcome to Jacket Talk Overtime. Today we're sitting down with Carter Singh. Carter, high school athlete here in Lebanon, doing some incredible things on the podium, I guess is the way we talk about it, right?
Yeah.
The podium?
Yeah,
is that what we're saying?
Yeah. Stage, podium.
The stage?
Yeah.
Would you rather it be the stage or the podium?
Maybe the platform.
The platform?
Platform.
Okay.
There we go.
So Carter is a weightlifter. We don't make the mistake of calling it powerlifting, and that will get Coach Tim upset.
Very mad.
That's what we call him. We got to quit calling him Timmy. It's Coach Tim. He loves it. So, Carter, just tell us a little bit about weightlifting and kind of what you got going on.
Yeah, so I compete in weightlifting. It could be called Olympic weightlifting as well. It's composed of two lifts, the snatch and the clean and jerk. The snatch is a lift from the bar goes from the ground to overhead in one movement, and the clean and jerk is from the ground to the shoulders and then shoulders to overhead. Okay. And so you combine those lifts, your best lift in each, you get 6 attempts total, and that makes a total, and you compete with other people in your age and weight class.
And what's been cool to see is it's not you're competing at this point across the world now.
Yeah.
Last year Ecuador, this year Peru. Who knows where else? Big goals. What are some of your goals? Let's get into that first.
So my big goals right now, I want a medal at the World Championships. So I'm going to World Championships late April, early May.
Peru,
yep.
Okay.
Lima, Peru. I would really like to get on the podium there. That's kind of my big goal. That would mean a lot for me. It's kind of a big standard to get on the podium at a World Championships. Kind of a big deal. So I would like to do that. Yeah.
So to get on the podium, you got to hit certain weights.
Yeah.
And your goal is to PR every event, right?
Mm-hmm.
Which
Yeah,
essentially should put you on the podium, whether first, second, third.
Yeah.
I struggle converting.
Yeah.
From 100. Like, what's your PR right now in the?
So my PR in kilos, snatch 115, which is about 253 pounds, and clean and jerk is 145, which is about 320 pounds.
Right. Do you still get confused?
I only think in kilos now, so I don't even think in pounds. I have to convert the other way.
So you've got rid of the standard, and your total metric now.
I'm flipped, yep.
Okay. So you just mentioned you just had St. Louis last weekend, right?
Yeah, I just had a little local comp in St. Louis last week.
How'd that go?
Went really good. PR'd both my snatch and my clean and jerk. Had a 10-kilo PR total there, so I was really happy with that.
Feel like you're on track for Peru, right?
Yeah, I feel like it's been going well, yeah.
Tell me a little bit about those competitions and maybe how someone like you gets to, how it kind of relates to what maybe a football player or a basketball player, like there's not a lot of team aspect to weightlifting, but like what's the experience like for you as an athlete?
So I wrestled before this. I would compare it a lot to wrestling. It's very individualized. You have no one else to rely on. The thing about weightlifting, though, is it can be over so quick. So you only get 6 attempts. And so, I mean, you go out there, you have to be very focused. You can't waste an attempt because you only get 3. And if you mess up one, I mean, that's going to throw off your track for the rest of the day. So really, I just try to be really focused going into it, get on the platform and kind of do my thing.
How does that work? What's the, because you get 60 seconds per attempt? Or
yeah, you have a minute on the clock. Yeah.
You have a minute on the clock.
Yeah.
So we've watched some of them via streaming and different things. So kind of tell us what that's like. That 60 seconds.
That's 60 seconds. So I try to walk out there as early as possible. I have a pretty long setup. So I'll go out there to the bar, just set up. I try not to really think about anything. I find that the more I think about, normally the worse I lift. So I try to just zone everything out, just replicate what I've done in the warm-up area, go out there and just do my thing, lift.
I know in watching these, it shuffles. You can have some numbers in mind, but then
Yeah.
you're watching the other competitors, and then
yeah.
there's a strategic aspect of what you attempt, right?
Yes,
Do
definitely.
you understand any of that, or do you let Coach Tim take care of
Yeah,
that?
I'm watching that too, but I tried to think about it as little as I can, let him kind of do all the numbers stuff. But it's definitely something that's in my mind. A lot of times you have to take attempts to up 1 kilo or up 2 kilos of what the other person's done because you may be down in the snatch and you need to make up ground in the clean and jerk. So it's a very strategic game in the back, and it's very, very intricate back there.
So, okay, so we've kind of talked about what you do, which is weightlifting. We've talked a little bit about where you've traveled, what you've got going on, and we've talked about the competition itself. What is it? You mentioned it, individualized. It's you versus you. But like, what kind of makes you tick in this world? Like, how did you realize that this is what you wanted to do?
Yeah. So ultimately, I kind of love the process. I think if you don't love the process, I think it's really hard to get anywhere in this sport. It's one of the more, I think, mentally challenging sports. It's just very dull, day in and day out. It's the same stuff. Somebody asked me the other day at the gym, it was Tuesday, and he was like, "What are you doing today?" And I was like, "I'm doing clean and jerk like I've done for the last Tuesday over the past 4 years." So it's like, it's the same stuff over and over. But I've kind of fell in love with that process. I love doing it. I love doing the extra stuff to just get me one step better in my mind. I feel like I'm taking over one competitor at a time. And that's really made this sport what I love more than all the other sports.
Gotcha. So let's talk about that, because I know I hear from Coach Tim a lot that little kids look up to you, that he's got, 8, 9, 10-year-olds that just walk around in awe of Carter. And we see that in football, we see it in basketball, but like, how are you able to take that and kind of run with it and be an example for those kids?
So it's a motivator, definitely. Just all those little kids in the gym, every day they're asking me how much is on the bar, how much is this, what are you doing today? I mean, that motivates me to keep me going, knowing that I have someone behind me that looks up to me. It also keeps me accountable. It lets me set a good example. I can't get too out of line, I don't want to set a bad example for all those kids. I know they look up to me.
Did you have anyone when, 5 years ago when you got started, did you have anyone that you got to look up to?
I mean, there were definitely some. When I got to the gym, I definitely wasn't the strongest one there. He had some older high school kids. Drake, like you said earlier, Wes Chaffin, I looked up to him. They were just quite a bit stronger than me, and that just gave me something to push for constantly.
So as you're progressing in this, how are you staying in love with the process? Because you said it went from you didn't really understand it to now you're embracing it. But like, what kind of keeps it going? Is it the competitions? Is it the support? What's that?
I would definitely say it's the competitions. If I don't have a competition for a while, it can get dull. I just have to. I'm a very goal-oriented person, so if I have a goal to shoot for, that's kind of my main driver. Like right now, Worlds, I'm probably the most motivated right now I've ever been. Just knowing that I have that big goal of getting on the podium, and I know it's going to take a lot, and so I'm going in every day with that mindset.
What has the travel aspect and getting involved with, I'm sure, and I know I've seen it from watching the streams, but you kind of are running in a pack of other kids that are doing this. What's that like?
I really enjoy it. I get to make a lot of new friends, meet a lot of new people throughout the travel, especially a Team USA travel. You're basically on a trip with someone for a week, and you get to live with them, train with them, do everything with them for a week, and so you get to meet a lot of cool people doing that. But I mean, it's a motivator too, because especially in those international trips, there's some super, super high-level lifters there, and they just push you every day.
Speaking of international, because you're a USA Weightlifting, that's the right term, right? USA Weightlifter. You go through some off-platform testing, right?
Yeah.
What's that like?
Well, it's kind of awkward at times. They can show up whenever you want. They just get a pop out in the gym. I've been tested, I think, 3 times now out of competition. They've shown up at the gym during my training, and they do some drug tests. Yeah,
and
it's very strict.
That's USADA, right?
USADA, yes.
Yeah,
USADA
so
does all the drug testing.
same folks that are testing one of your favorite sport. Well,
UFC.
they
recently got out of that contract. But,
so I'm guessing you're one of the only ones around that they have to come. To
Lebanon. There's a couple athletes in St. Louis. I know they test. A couple of other weightlifters that compete for Team USA, and I think they said. Last time they tested me in the summer, they said they had to test some Paralympic athletes that were leaving for Paris. So I thought that was pretty interesting.
That's cool.
Yeah.
So, what would you describe your diet things that you do off this, would you describe pretty basic, or are you into a lot of different supplements? I know obviously with USADA and things like that, you got to be careful and understand what you're putting in your body, right?
So definitely have to be careful with supplements. I don't take any pre-workout. A lot of that stuff gets tainted with certain supplements, and I don't want to get popped for something dumb like that. But I really only take creatine and protein right now. My diet's pretty standard. I don't track my macros like super strictly. I track my protein, hit my protein goal every day, but really that's about it for the most part.
Do you ever get to just be a kid?
Yeah. I definitely take time off. After competitions is definitely the most slacked. Like that week or two after competitions, I kind of just enjoy whatever I want to do, take a week off of training, and I really enjoy that time.
Get some downtime, spend time with your girlfriend a little bit, probably. Family, Christmas, holidays, all that sort. I think Timmy, I heard, Coach Tim, because we're not going to call him by his real name. Didn't you, maybe you got 12 straight days off or something recently?
Yeah,
right after
I got
Christmas?
a week off right after Christmas. I trained through Christmas, actually, but then the week following Christmas, I went on vacation and got a week off during
And that was probably your first,
That was my first real time off in a while, yeah. We had a big push there for a while.
Gotcha. If you could give advice to a little kid watching, a little kid at the gym with you, or even an adult, I mean, you've got adults that are in your corner that look up to what you're doing, the discipline. Anything you could describe or tell or give them that would help kind of get going in this, or to stay focused?
For all the weightlifters training, I would kind of just say look at the end goal. If you get caught up in the process right now, it can be really hard to keep training, coming to the gym every day. You just have to look at where you want to be and not where you are, and I think that can be your biggest motivator.
Gotcha. So, what are you guys doing right now, both in the gym and outside of the gym, to prepare for Peru?
Yeah.
You mentioned you got the Arnold coming up in Ohio,
Yes.
which is 8 weeks out from the Peru trip,
From
right?
Worlds, yes.
So what are you guys doing to kind of, I know you've got some fundraisers and some different things that you guys are doing, but talk about that.
So we're selling T-shirts right now. They should be out in the next couple weeks. We're selling T-shirts to fundraise. So those should be out soon. We're getting that. We're doing a big total Saturday. I believe it's not this Saturday, but the next. I don't know the dates for sure.
That'd be the 15th.
The 15th, yeah. Yep. February 15th. So we're doing that. So anybody can come in and do that. No specifics. You can do whatever you want. Just hit some big lifts, hopefully, there. So that's kind of the things we're doing with the community right now. But as far as me, have a lot of heavy lifts right now. Had a lot of heavy singles in the gym to prepare for these lifts. So my body's taking a big toll right now. So recovery and everything's been really big for me.
Gotcha. So we've ran through the gamut. 5 years ago, pretty novice, walk in. I know Timmy mentioned when he talked to Kevin, you started just like these kids that are starting now, empty bar, strictly technique, fundamentals, that sort of thing. What's it feel like then versus now? Like, what's one of the biggest growths you've seen, or comfortable? How have you gotten comfortable with it?
So I kind of just have grown in my knowledge of the sport, and I would say that helps the most. I've kind of fell in love with the sport, honestly, fell in love with the process. All I do is watch weightlifting. All I do is read about weightlifting. I listen to podcasts about weightlifting. So my knowledge of the sport has definitely gone up a lot, and that helps me in the lifts, helps me understand the lifts. There's very complicated lifts, and so the better understanding, the better I can train with those.
Who's an athlete in weightlifting, or an athlete in general, that you look up to?
So I would say an athlete in weightlifting right now that I look up to is Hampton Morris. He's a 61 kilo lifter. It's about 135 pounds.
You lift at what?
I lift at 73 kilos, or about 160 pounds.
160.
Yeah, so he's lighter than me, but he got the bronze medal at the Paris Olympics this summer. He was the first men's medalist in around 50 years for the United States, and he set the clean and jerk world record, which we haven't had a male set a senior world record in around 70 years, and so that was just a huge accomplishment for USA Weightlifting, and he does everything right all the time. He doesn't take days off. It's very, very specific for him.
So I want to understand that too. You said you're at 160 pounds now, which is how many kilos?
73.
73. So what's the outlook? Like, how are you progressing as far as your weight that you are, the 73 kilos? What's the next step, or what will you compete at?
So after Worlds will be the last competition I'll do at 73 kilos, and they actually just introduced new weight classes to USA Weightlifting, and so I'll be going up to 79 kilos, which is about 178 pounds. My body's been needing that jump. I can tell I'm capping out at the weight class I'm out right now, so I'm definitely going to need to go up to that next weight class.
What are you in regards to the athletes you compete against, like age-wise? How does that work?
So right now I'm in the 16 to 17-year-old category, and that's just for USA weightlifting. So it's 16 to 17, and then your weight class. But for the world stage, it's just 17 and under. So I'm competing with anybody at the 17 and under age group. But I'm at the top of that, so obviously I'm going to be one of the oldest I'm competing with.
Right, and then it goes from 17 and under to
17 and under, and then it's 14 to 15 in USA weightlifting, and then 13 and under are the age categories. But after 17U, it goes 18 through 20-year-olds, and that's called the junior category. And then after that, it's just the senior category, which is any age.
right, and then but it's still broke down in your weight.
Yeah, still broke down in weight classes all the way.
Right.
Yeah.
So what could you see? Let's project into the future. Like, what do you see your weight class when you get to the senior level? What weight class will you be competing in at that point? Do you think?
So right now, after the 79 kilo weight class, it goes up to the 88s, and I'll probably end up settling there.
That's about 195.
195ish, yeah.
Right, okay.
I'll probably end up settling there. I have a feeling, just kind of how my body is and how I'll fill out. I'm assuming I'll fill out around 88 kilos. Yeah.
Gotcha. So we know where you've been. We know where you're headed. Anybody that you want to shout out? I know it's been hard for you because, like you mentioned, as a youth, wrestling, football, other sports, and now you've solely focused on weightlifting.
Yeah.
Obviously, that was a choice you had to make, right?
Yeah, definitely.
How did you come about that choice, and how would you, there's other people watching, other parents with their kids, and in this, how would you're at a level that is different than a lot of athletes. We've seen, similar football players in your position. We've seen basketball players. You knew it was time to probably focus on one thing. How'd you make that decision? And I don't want to say do you regret it, but how is it kind of shaped, and are you comfortable with it and excited to move forward?
So after I won my first national championship, I was 13 when I won that, and I told myself when I won that national championship, I would never quit. At the time, I had just quit wrestling, so I'd only been doing football. I told myself I would never quit football to be a national level lifter. I told myself if I was ever going to quit football, I would be an international level lifter. And so right after I made my first international team, I had to have that talk with myself that if I want to go to that next level, I didn't feel like I could be at the level I wanted to in weightlifting and play football at the same time.
Right.
And so Coach Christian was really great working with me through that. He very understanding. He saw my goals. He saw where I wanted to be. And he understood that he didn't think I could be where I am now if I was continuing to play football. So he was really supportive through all that. I fully stand with my decision that I've made. As weightlifting's going right now, it's going about the best track I could as a youth. I truly don't think I would be in this position I was if I would have kept playing football. And it was a sacrifice I had to make. All my friends play football. I've played football my whole life. And so that was a big step to not do that anymore. That's where most of my memories are made as a child.
So you did, and then I know you haven't given up on the football team. You haven't given up on the wrestling team. I've seen you at basketball games.
Yeah.
You're still part of all of that.
Yeah,
it
definitely.
just, as of right now, we don't have a quote unquote high school weightlifting team.
Exactly.
But you're still involved with all those kids.
Definitely.
You're getting to do that. So, we know international competitions are where you're at now.
Yeah.
Obviously, Worlds in Peru. What does what are college plans maybe for this? How does that kind of work out?
Yeah, so certain colleges do have it. We've been in contact with a few now. I actually just went up to Lindenwood University a couple weekends ago to train with them, meet with the coach, and talk with them. I really enjoyed the campus there, but I probably do plan on attending a college to do weightlifting and just farther doing that, so I can get my education, get a little bit of that paid for with weightlifting too, and get to do that there.
What's that like to be? I think it's probably pretty safe to say you're being hunted or recruited.
Yeah.
We can call it recruiting, but what's it feel like to have people calling you? Because I know I've talked a little bit with Coach Tim about it, and maybe your mindset didn't really, I don't want to say you didn't understand it, but it was probably different because you're going there and they're saying, come on, Carter, we would love to have you. What's that like?
It's nice. It takes a little pressure off of it, not having to go and make my case to these colleges. They understand that the level of lifter I am, and so that is nice getting to go there. It takes a little pressure off of it. get a lift better. But also, I mean, I'm just exploring it right now, seeing what different colleges have programs and where I'd kind of like to settle.
Because what year are you in
I'm a
school?
junior.
You're a junior,
Yeah.
so we've still got this year.
Still got another year. Yep.
And then next year, sky's the limit.
Yep.
We've looked at your track, what the plans are. Again, I want to emphasize, if you're interested in helping these guys with fundraising efforts for Peru and some of the things that you're doing locally, I know it's been cool to see with the Lift Right initiative and the stuff that Tim and the gym are able to do to get weightlifting to more kids. Okay. But yeah, if you guys would like to support those guys, you can go check out the Gym 24/7's Facebook or the Field's Facebook. They've got all the info there. You mentioned T-shirts and that sort of thing. Anybody you want to thank, talk about? I know your parents are huge in your life, and they follow you. They're with you. They're supporting you. Tell us a little bit about that.
So yeah, my parents have been great, allowing me to do all this, get me to all these competitions. You know, it's not cheap traveling around the country and world, and so they're supporting me through that way, and they're following me to all these competitions, supporting me in that way too. Tim has followed me also to all these competitions, which that's big. I mean, he has a family, he has time. I mean, this take a lot of time out of his life. So just thank him for following me around all these competitions. And then all the people that have like bought shirts previously or donated, that's big, huge too. These competitions, like I said, are hard to get to, very expensive, internationally traveling. And so thank all the people that have donated or bought shirts.
One thing I did want to ask you, you mentioned it a little bit. In Ecuador, you're officially on Team USA.
Yeah.
What was that like? You were pretty restricted when you were there as far as like, I know Timmy was telling me like you can only eat what they provide because of different things. Like we mentioned USADA and the testing and all of that. But what was that like being in that, I guess maybe the bubble, so to speak, if we're a common term, but like, just let's dive into that real quick before we go.
Well, it was really cool. All the food was provided because, odd fact, a lot of the meat in foreign countries actually can have like steroids put in them, and so they didn't want us to get popped, obviously, at our competition. So we could only eat the meat provided to us at the hotel. After we competed, it was pretty relaxed. We could kind of go out, but before we competed, only eat there. But yeah, the whole team stayed together in a hotel, so that was a really cool experience, getting to hang out with all of them, meet a lot of people there, making a lot of new friends. But really enjoyed that trip. Yeah.
One thing, tell me something you did in Ecuador off the podium, something you got to experience.
Well, the city was really cool. This was my second time out of the country. I had previously went to Panama, but it was a really cool country. The landscape was very interesting, but the city was just unique getting to see that. It's not like the United States at all, so it's very different. Yeah.
Awesome. Well, Carter, I appreciate you coming in, sitting down. I'm sorry that you have to deal with Coach Tim. For those of you who watched yesterday, Coach Tim, he's mad at me. He just yelled at Kevin the whole time, but be sure to go back and watch that interview and kind of get an idea of behind the scenes from a coach's standpoint, how that stuff works. But Carter, I can't thank you enough. Yeah. We're rooting you on. We're proud of you. Looking forward to it. Also, you can check out Swino Visuals did an extra mile on you this fall. Really cool to see. Cool, yeah. But thank you again, and we're excited. We'll be cheering you on, and we appreciate it.
Yep, thanks for having me.
All right, go Jackets.
Go Jackets.
All right, Jacket Talk Overtime. We'll see you next week.
You shouldn't have to give up the hometown bank experience to enjoy modern convenience. Just check our Google reviews about our in-person, online, and mobile banking experiences. Open an account in minutes today.
Welcome to Jacket Talk on LEB TV.